Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Dr. Sherlonda Adkins. She is also known as the Unstuck Strategist, is a motivational speaker, success coach, national board certified assistant, entrepreneur, thought leader, world traveler, philanthropist, and several other things. Welcome to the show, Dr. Sherlonda Adkins.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. Always love talking about getting unstuck.
Absolutely, absolutely. We will talk about that. But first, let's understand a bit more about you, about your journey, about your background, so that the audience understands who they are listening to.
Okay. So I live in Charleston, South Carolina, in the United States on the East Coast, and I consider myself to be a dreamer. And when people ask me, "What do you do?" I always say, "How much time do you have?" because I do a lot of different things. So my professional role, I am a psychiatric physician assistant. So I treat patients who have mental health disorders such as depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders, ADHD, and pretty much everything in between. In addition to that, I'm also an unstuck strategist. So I help people sort of kind of break free from their own limitations and create plans so that they can live a life that they don't feel like they have to escape. And world traveler. So you mentioned that in my intro. Absolutely love traveling. Have not made it to India yet, but I will get there eventually. And I'm also one of my most the roles that I'm proud of. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of three, getting ready to enter the empty nest phase. We have an older daughter who's a pharmacist, a son who's finishing up college, and then a daughter starting high school. And I believe you met my husband earlier, Randy Adkins. So yeah, so that's just a little bit about me in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that. And so now let's talk about the unstuck and the stuck part. So when people feel stuck, people say when you are in a bad situation, you want to escape that situation. Why is it that people who are stuck somewhere do not want to escape that situation? Why is it so sticky?
Well, sometimes it's not so much about not wanting to escape, but sometimes how, right? So, how do you get out of it? But the first step is really awareness. A lot of times we're not even aware that we're stuck. So, for example, when I'm meeting with a patient for the first time and getting some information and insight about the problems that they are experiencing, oftentimes I will ask them, is there someone else in your life who you trust, who has observed you and can provide more feedback? Because our insight is very limited. Even my insight, I may be able to talk to you and show you areas where you're stuck, but I may not be able to see that for myself. So sometimes it's just the awareness, not understanding that we're in a stuck place. You may start to feel the symptoms of saying, "Oh my gosh, I wake up in the morning, I don't really feel motivated. It's just day in, day out. I don't feel like I'm happy." So you may recognize the symptoms and still not think that you are stuck or experiencing sticky thinking. So that's why a lot of times it's not so much that they don't want to, but it's just, am I stuck? And then once I realize I'm stuck, then what do I do? Because I have no clue, because what I've been doing has not been working.
Right, right, Dr. Sherlonda. And that is where my next question. You talked about some sweet symptoms. If someone sits down and actually understands themselves, their situation, how do they actually come to know that okay, these are the symptoms that I can recognize, and I think I am stuck. And the obvious question after that is then how do you get yourself unstuck from that situation?
Yes. So looking at where you are in life and where you've been trying to go and finding out, I just can't seem to get there. My effort is not equating to progress. I feel like I'm getting more frustrated. I feel like I'm having to work extra hard just to see a few steps of progress, and even physically sometimes feeling stuck, just feeling tired and fatigued because you're trying so much, you're exerting so much mental energy and sometimes even physical energy, and just putting a lot of effort into it. But I would say the biggest thing is having a goal trying to reach that goal and just finding that you're literally spinning your wheels, that's a good indication of maybe I am stuck. And then,
Right.
so the next question where you ask, well, how do I get unstuck? So when I say the word unstuck, I want you to think it's an acronym. Okay, so there's 7 strategies to getting unstuck. So the first one is the U, unlearning your definition of success, because a lot of people get stuck trying to fulfill someone else's definition of success, what's been put out by society, or maybe it was your parents. Maybe you were growing up and you were expected to go into a particular profession or to live a particular lifestyle, and that was never what you desired to do. So undefining, unlearning success and redefining it for what it looks like in this season of your life. So that's the first step in getting unstuck.
Right. Right, Dr. Sherlonda. You want to enumerate, you said 7 points. Would you
Mhm.
like to enumerate the others also?
Yes. Okay. So you want me to keep going with those? So that's the first one.
Yes.
And then the second one is nurturing your soul. And what I mean by nurturing your soul, a lot of times in a busy society, we go. And think about it. We're trained for that pace from the time we're in school. We wake up, we have a schedule. We get out of school, we have a schedule. We go to sleep, we wake up, and we repeat it. And a lot of times children, even in their free time and on the weekends, there's still a schedule, whether it's sports or music classes, extracurriculars. So we have this hustle mentality that's ingrained in us from the time that we are small. So then we grow up and we continue to do those things, but we never really learn how to take time and quiet ourselves and nurture our soul. So self-care is a big buzzword. We heard a lot about that, particularly during COVID, right? And so self-care is going to look different for everybody, and self-care needs will evolve over time. For someone, self-care could be simply walking outside and no electronics and just observing nature, just to nurture your soul and just connect with your inner self. And so there are a lot of different ways, but I won't go into all the ways, but nurturing your soul is completely important. I feel like that's probably one of the strategies that's most commonly overlooked, but it's an important part of being unstuck. And then the next one is the S in unstuck, means state what you want. How can you achieve success if you've never gotten clear about what it is that you're wanting and then stating that? So that's an important part of being unstuck. And then next is the T, taking a step. So once you've gotten clear about what you want, you've stated what you wanted, then there's action. Because we can have it here, we can say it, but if we never take a step, if we never move forward into making it happen, we're going to remain stuck. And then the next one is also important. I actually have a little prop that I brought. The U stands for understanding your emotions. And I absolutely love this. I purchased this for demonstrations, but I also use it for myself. This is a feelings wheel, also known as an emotions wheel. And as you can see right here in the center, you have some of your emotions like anger, fear, sadness. Ones that we can generally relate to. If someone says, "How are you doing today?" You may say, "Well, I'm mad." But on the feelings wheel, it teaches you how to go beyond that and really get in touch with your emotions, because most of us, if you are leading, if you're a leader, you have to be able to understand your emotions as you're interacting with other people. So we talk about emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence starts with understanding our own emotions, because if we don't, we're going to always be the one that's causing that stagnation in our lives and causing our own selves to be stuck. And then the C stands for collaboration. Collaboration. I promise you that no matter how successful you are in life, if you connect with other like-minded people, your impact will be exponential. It's just, I mean, we're singularly human beings, so there's only so much we can do on our own. So connecting with people, whether it's in your community, in your profession, or even like what we're doing right now. We are collaborating. You're giving me an opportunity to share this message, but collaboration is key. Yeah. And again, like even in school, working in projects, I believe we do get a little bit of experience learning how to do that. But depending on where you grow up, if you grow up in a culture that's more, individualistic, it's you can do this, you can be successful. It's easy to overlook the power of working with other people or other organizations. And then the last strategy for getting unstuck is K, creativity, spelled with a K, to make the point that you can do it on your own terms. Have fun with it. When I mentor students or young adults who are thinking about, well, I'm not sure what career I want to go in, I always encourage them to, what is this fun for you? Is it just something that you're doing to make money? But is it fun? Can you be creative? Do you have the ability to add your own spin to it? Because I believe we all have a secret sauce in life. We all have a secret sauce that's put in us. And the quicker we realize that it is important and that it can be used to improve society and improve the world, the better. So use that, sprinkle that in whatever you're doing. And that's going to help you remain unstuck, because you are just allowing the essence of who you are to work, to be prevalent in the work that you do, because nobody can do what you do the way that you do it.
Wonderful, wonderful, Dr. Sherlonda. Now let us understand from how does this feeling stuck thing work? If you are stuck somewhere, one thing, is it that your overall life is stuck? Why? What I want to ask is that in life you may be stuck in your job, but does that also mean that you are stuck in your personal life? No, you must be very happy in your personal life, or it can be vice versa. And so how does this stuck thing work? And overall, how does it impact us? Can it be compartmentalized, or is it that one stuck in life, it means the overall you are stuck in every aspect?
Oh, yes. So we're going to have fun with this answer. Okay. So when you think about the different, so you talk about compartmentalize. So you think about the different areas of life. So it could be your spiritual life. It could be your relationships with a partner or your children or your parents. It could be your work. It could be your finances, your health. So the general answer to that question is, if you're stuck in one area, does it mean that you're stuck in the other areas? And generally speaking, no, not necessarily. Because you could have, a beautiful, in relationships, you could be thriving, feeling fulfilled, having joy and motivated to show up in those relationships. But let's say at work, maybe you feel like you've been overlooked for a promotion or not given that opportunity to shine, and you feel like you hit the ceiling and there's nowhere to go. So you go to work and you're stuck. And that same energy that you're able to produce at home, it just seems like it's just in stagnant water that's not flowing at work. So that can happen. However, do you think some of that's going to bleed over? It probably will, because as human beings, we're not as smart as we think we are sometimes. It's hard for your feelings to compartmentalize and say, I'm going to feel this particular way at work. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to keep to myself. And then somewhere home, something magical happens on that commute. You get home and then you're this nice, cheerful, bubbly person. So it usually does carry over. However, we're going to add a time element into this. So if this is something that's more short term, so maybe this has been the experience a few weeks, a few months, maybe about a year, you probably can balance it okay without it causing you to be stuck in other areas of your life. Now, long term, that's when it becomes problematic. And that stuckness that you feel in one area is probably going to bleed over into the other areas, and then to where you eventually just start kind of shutting down and feeling discouraged. And maybe, where is the hope and what's the point? And again, when I mentioned having people in your life who can give you objective readings and give you objective temperatures of what you are exuding, they are key because they'll be the ones that say, hey, you've been kind of quiet. Is everything okay? I noticed your garden, you were always talking about your garden and the things you were growing and showing pictures. And I noticed you have a lot of weeds in those gardens. Now what's going on? Sometimes we have things that are within us that if they are not resolved, it really doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in your external. Work could be going extremely well. You could be living your best unstuck life at work, in your finances, your health, everything. But if there's some unresolved in psychiatry, we talk about trauma, things that we've experienced that we never really dealt with. And sometimes it just kind of comes to the surface. And when that happens, and a lot of times it's like an insidious process, but then that can spill over systemically and affect all of those areas and cause you to be stuck. So it's not necessarily being stuck from the external, but like an unstuck, getting stuck from the internal. So your question about can you be stuck in one area and unstuck? So it really just depends. Yes, you can be, but not for long periods of time. And if you find that you generally feel stuck in all areas, it's probably coming from something internal as opposed to external.
Absolutely. Let's look at it another way. You do so many things, and I talk world traveler, philanthropist, being the CEO and founder of your Psych My Way, coach, means so many things you do. A lot of people nowadays are multi hyphenates. They do so many things, and they define success by their own way, by looking at different areas that they are probably good at, and look at life from that angle. Sometimes it can get too much. Sometimes people may think, okay, you are dreaming, like you dream big, and a lot of people do achieve a lot of things, which is wonderful. How does feeling stuck work there? Is it a signal there that you must leave some of the things and get only focused on the areas that you are actually doing well? Or should they continue to be, say, unstuck and feeling very good in two areas, and two areas they have gotten stuck? How should they look at this from overall point of view of whether they should stick or they should move away?
So I would say the singular word, I would say purpose. Because anything that we're doing, so for example, and like you said, I do a lot of different things, which is partly on purpose. I used to think that was a curse. Like, sometimes I just want to do something different. Why can't I just stick to one thing and do that for the rest of my life? And then I found out, no, that's a superpower. That's a superpower to have. But purpose, anything that you're doing, it should be a way for you to express your purpose in this life. And when something has already ran its course or is starting to run its course, maybe you don't feel like your purpose is, you're not being as impactful as you were at the beginning, or there's usually some type of shift, because we all evolve. I tell people that, like the earth, when you think about the earth, right, the earth is always doing two things at one time. So the earth is spinning, that's why we have day and night, and then the earth is also rotating as going around the sun. So same thing with us. Inside, we're evolving. So the person that I was 5 years ago, I'm not that person now. I'm actually probably not the same person I was last week, in a sense, like incremental changes. So sometimes when we're in particular roles and we change and we evolve, and it's time to move past those roles. But if we don't, then we run the risk of getting stuck in that role. It could have started off as a really good thing, and you should have made impact and exercise your purpose. But sometimes feeling stuck is your soul's way of letting you know that something is now out of alignment. And so having the ability to shift, to recognize that and shift. So you always have to have that awareness, because you could be doing a lot of great things and then still end up being stuck. So it can't, for some people, they may say, wow, this sounds really exhausting because you're always having to think.
Right, Dr. Sherlonda. Now let's look at a life where you do not want to escape from. That is the life that one may want to look at. Something. Mm-hmm. What is that life about? Means where you don't feel stuck, but you want to be there. Help us understand what is that life which is like that, which you do not want to escape. You are happy being stuck in that life.
Yes, that's the one time you want to be stuck in that life. So the key is when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up with a sense of it's a new day, I'm excited? Do you greet the day that way, or do you wake up and you go, ugh, so here we go again? So that's a good gauge on, am I living the life that I don't have to escape? And it goes back to the you and unstuck. You have to define what that looks like for you. For someone, it may be I wake up in the morning and I hit the ground running and I go and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and at the end of the day I feel fulfilled, I have accomplished my purpose. So that's an unstuck life. Whereas on the other hand, someone may look at that and say, oh my gosh, I would feel so stuck. I would feel like I'm on a hamster wheel. So it's really going to vary, but it's going to be that place where you just feel like you're at peace and you're really satisfied in life. Empathy is high when you're in this place of unstuckness, because you can take the focus off of yourself and you're giving out to others. You just have a general sense of well-being and a sense of happiness. Now, that's not to say that every day is perfect, because we're living in this world. A lot of things are out of our control. So we're still going to have, ebbs and flows and ups and downs, but it's more of the inner peace that even though bad things happen, we go through challenges, at the end of the day, this is still the life I would not trade. An unstuck life is not one where you're constantly thinking, oh, I wish I had this, or I wish I was here, I wish I had have done that. But I've learned from my mistakes. I've enjoyed the journey, and I'm looking forward to continuing to live this life and impact others as I live it. So again, it's that you still have to have that awareness and check in with yourself. Like I said, when you wake up, how are you greeting the day? And that will be a huge indication as to whether or not you are living that life that you don't have to escape. It's not always about, so I do love to travel, but it's not always about waking up saying, oh my gosh, I'm in the Caribbean, or I'm in Mauritius. That's not it. That's great. But it's really, do you have paradise within yourself?
Absolutely. Very well put, Dr. Sherlonda. People who look at contentment and peace, that is what keeps them, stuck to the places which they would never want to escape from. That's the real life that a lot of people seek, but are able only many times you miss those things. Very well explained. And I'm sure a lot of people would like to not only learn from you, they would want to connect with you, get your services, and get stuck to a life that they really want to. So what's the best way for them to do so?
So the best way is my website. It's drsherlondaadkins.com. And I would love, so I have clients all over the world. So in South Carolina and in the U.S. Virgin Islands, I'm kind of limited as far as medical treatment, but across the world, if you want to talk about getting unstuck and planning a life that you don't have to escape, I can 100% help you with that. It's my joy in life, because, what I found is a lot of times when people feel stuck, it's really just the sticky thinking that they've gotten accustomed to hearing themselves say. A lot of times it's not so much about other people, but we can project it and it seems like it's other people. But there are actions that every single person can take to start that journey. So yeah, feel free to connect with me there, and I'm happy to help.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.